Welcome to the Book Talk Babes podcast, where we will be discussing different book-related topics and occasionally specific books. This episode may contain spoilers, so please check the episode description for a list of books that were spoiled. My name is Ashley, and today I'm joined by my lovely friend Elaine.
Hello.
And Liana.
Hello.
This episode will contain explicit language. Thank you, returning listeners, and welcome new ones. So, this episode is going to be about the dirtiest books and scenes or sexiest books and scenes that we have read that we enjoy.
It's going to be about sex.
This one's going to be a dirty episode.
I'm way too single for this episode.
I actually kind of struggled a little bit with this. I feel like I haven't really read anything that's too dirty lately. So that's why I added the sexy part in there. Because I read some books that have some pretty good, like, sexy scenes in it. But I wouldn't consider them, like, dirty.
So I think I've become desensitized.
Oh, yeah?
Because, like, I don't know how, but lately I've been stumbling upon books that have a degradation kink. Maybe fate is choosing them for me or something. And maybe it's fate trying to tell me something. But but even those, I'm not like clutching my pearls. I'm just like, I feel myself thinking like, well, that's nice.
Those have to be done just right for me. Like, I didn't enjoy it so much in what is the book? I think it's Hooked or something.
Okay, is that like a Peter Pan thing?
I mean, yes and no.
Or is it like a Captain Hook thing?
Like, I think it was more, I can't remember now. There was no, like, I think his, like, nickname was Hook or something like that. But it didn't really follow, like, a Peter Pan kind of storyline from what I can remember. Which is apparently not very much at the moment.
Yeah. Well, like, all I can think is, good for her. You know, she's trying things.
I mean, whatever makes you happy.
I just think it's been so long since I've like had physical contact with a man that I'm just like, all right, that was nice. What happens next? But even then, I feel myself seeing like, that's it, you know, like, yeah, that's it.
So then, did you ever finish Beast by Katie Robert?
I did not. I guess that would be the big test, wouldn't it?
If you've been desensitized, yeah, since you couldn't finish.
Yeah.
I would like to say pretty much anything written by Katie Robert falls in this episode. Like,
yeah. I've been tempted to read Neon Gods. I've heard that's.
I like Neon Gods. I liked Electric Idol better, which is book 2.
Oh, okay. Which one is that about?
It's about her sister Psyche.
Oh, Psyche has an interesting mythology.
It's Psyche and Aphrodite's son.
Eros?
Maybe. I am drawing a blank now.
I think it's Eros. Psyche and Eros are a thing. And Eros is the god of like sexual pleasure.
Let me see. Hold on.
Do you have to read them in order, or are they like standalones?
I think they're kind of standalone, but the first book kind of lays out like the world building and some of the basic like relationships between people. So like I don't remember the second one really retouching on like how the positions work. Yeah, Psyche and Eros are
called it.
Are the second one. Yeah. I really liked that one. She's a plus size social media influencer or fashion influencer or something. It's really cool. It's cute. It's dirty.
No way.
I have a quote from that book embroidered and it's on my bookshelf. It's like, stop teasing me and just touch me or something. But yeah, that one's like what is it? Not necessarily marriage of convenience, but like marriage of necessity.
Okay.
She's gonna get murdered by Aphrodite, and then Eros.
Oh, no.
She's like, Aphrodite sends Eros, her son, to kill her, and he decides not to, and he decides to marry her to protect her, or something.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Well,
I like
I guess it is kind of convenient.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't die.
Yeah.
It's convenient that I don't die.
But it's one of those ones where like neither one, not necessarily a whole, it's kind of a miscommunication. Like neither one of them openly share their feelings that they're starting to like actually get for one another.
That's dumb.
Yeah. But it wasn't, I don't remember it frustrating me like most miscommunication things do. I feel like they come pretty clean, or they come clean about it at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, Neon Gods is good too.
I am reading Heartsong right now by S.E. Wendel.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's the gargoyle and the human.
Okay.
And they just hooked up. Like, finally.
That's saying something coming from you.
Okay. It's not a slow burn in the way that I don't know how to describe, like, it's a slow burn. They don't get together till like maybe 65% of the way.
Okay.
But it's only because the minute he like wakes up, he's like, mate, and she's like, about that. So it's a lot of him like being in love with her from the start, and her like warming up to the idea. Meanwhile, there's just like this super hot gargoyle living in her apartment playing with her cat. I know that's not a euphemism because she has a cat. And the cat loves him, and she's like, ugh, traitor. But yeah, I'm like, finally, you guys. Because he's been walking around in some gray sweatpants. And he can't, he has shirts, but he can't close them because his claws get in the way.
Oh.
So man's just like a walking feast for the eyes.
He's like the Imagine Dragons music video clip I just saw on Instagram.
What's that one?
I shall find it and send it to you.
But basically the author's like, this is to like every kid who had their sexual awakening watching that gargoyle cartoon.
Yes.
Oh. And I was like, I knew it. Because I remember watching that as a kid, and I'm like, huh. But you know, I can identify stuff as a kid. And I'm like, there's something about that that's gonna circle back at some point. But yeah, she's like, there's no way this is gonna like work out physically, and he's like, oh, yes, it will. And she's like, you're so confident. And he's like, yeah. But for their first encounter, she bought them some lube, and he thought it was so cute. And she's like, just in case, because you seem pretty big.
Oh. Gotta be prepared.
And then he was like flattered because he's like, oh, so you want to take all of me? And I was like, stop. None of this, sir. That's not one of the dirtiest books I was going to talk about, but I just wanted to mention it in passing.
Also, I mean, like, I don't know. If I had to, I wrote a list down here. Like, I looked through all my bookshelves, and then I looked through my Goodreads, and like, out of them, like, yeah, Katie Roberts books,
yeah,
for sure. Silver Flames, A Court of Silver Flames is pretty dirty. Oh, The Never King and the Dark One by Nikki St. Crow. Those are pretty dirty.
Should I read The Never King? Like, would I like it, do you think? Because I've heard some good things, and it's been sitting on my TBR for a while.
I mean, yeah, I think you would. Maybe. It's got a little
Okay.
bit of like it's got a little bit of degradation kink in it. And like there were parts where I was like, okay, that's unnecessary to tell me that, but like I get why it's being said. So I don't know. You might like it. I thought it was good.
Cool.
I don't like how much. I don't know. It's really hard for me when like the love interests like smoke cigarettes.
Oh.
So like they all like smoke cigarettes in that, or at least Pan does, and I'm just like, I get it. You're like a mythical, magical thing, so like you're not gonna get lung cancer, but it's still sometimes hard for me to ignore that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Den of Vipers. That one's pretty dirty.
I'm trying to think. I mean, Arclicanian men, they can oof.
Yes.
They can really oof.
See, and I don't know if I would consider those necessarily like dirty or more like sexy.
Probably more sexy.
Okay, you haven't read Sick Then yet.
You haven't read Sick Then. You also haven't read Using Feo, because I was going to say Using Feo is one of them.
Okay. So they got dirtier after the first
They get a little bit
two.
more.
I don't know if it's necessarily like dirtier. I would just say more creative.
Okay.
Yeah, because each man has their thing. I'm trying to think. Other than my number one boy, my little goth emo boy, I'm trying to think of the men. You know what? We're gonna take it back to Theo. I think, I wouldn't mind being chased. I don't know about Maxu. I think I would fight him too much. And then Varako pissed me off.
Oh yeah?
A lot. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, he has some cool abilities. But no, that whole thing would piss me off. And then I kind of just forgot about the other guys.
I see. It's funny that you say it's funny you say Theo, because you were all
Luca,
over
yeah.
Luca's shit when we did the episode.
I know.
You're like, Luca over Theo.
I know, but looking back at it, I just love a sad boy. I love a hot sad boy.
I see.
Who's like, no one will ever love me. And I'm like, hello.
I will.
And I'll turn into one of those like inflatable tube things and just like, you're like, it's me. Pick me.
I did put I put 50 Shades of Grey on here.
I'm sorry.
I didn't say it was my favorite book.
An involuntary reaction.
All I said is I went through my bookshelves. They're on there.
Yeah.
Did you even read them?
I read the first one.
No.
Oh wait, okay. So you didn't even read them, Liana, and you're just saying, I watched movies.
Oh, I didn't watch all the movies.
You can't go off the movies. I didn't even watch the movies.
Okay, honestly, anything that's marketed as like Edward Bella fan fiction, I'm not into.
I honestly didn't know that's what it was when I read it.
Well, I think because of copyright, she had to like really change it, but I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've read that. I don't remember it.
I read those like 19, 20.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's been quite a few years since I have read them. The only reason I even have physical copies is because either my mother-in-law or my sister-in-law had gotten them for like Christmas, and they're like, I'm never gonna read these. Do you want them? I'm like, sure.
I think this was like when I first got like the Kindle app on the phone. It was like one of my very first Kindle like books.
I read them because at the time, one of the doctors that I worked with had prescribed that to an older woman who was having low libido stuff. And she's like, she's like, I've heard good things about this book series. Like, you should give it a try. She came back. She said it worked for her. So, but we were all talking about it at work, and I was like, I guess I need to read these. So I read them for the first time on my Nook.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She was like, give this a try, and then we'll try medication if this doesn't help.
Yeah, but like, go old lady though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. A lot of we got in like almost like a whole shelf's worth of like erotica books.
Oh.
Probably, and we had like enough for back stock, and it came from 2 like older ladies. Like they came together and sold their books. So we had a few repeats, and I was just like, I love this so much.
Love that.
Oh my god, is that gonna be us?
I mean, that might be y'all. I'm not giving anyone my books.
I know.
I'm gonna die with them. I'm gonna have to have like a little mausoleum thing for my grave, so I can be buried with all my books,
right?
Just on bookshelves in my tomb, like a pharaoh.
Oh my goodness, people are gonna think, people who like unearth your tomb like 1,000 years from now will think you're like a witch. Or
Oh
something.
yeah, definitely.
Like a sex witch.
If any of the books make it, they're gonna be like, what the fuck?
I'd be like, damn, she was getting
Right.
All right, so I think I want to dive off the deep end with this one.
Okay.
At least deep end for me.
Okay.
I know you guys have different deep ends.
I was like, I did put the Easter Bunny books on here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I just finished Priest.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. I downloaded it. I haven't started it yet.
And I am going to say I'm glad it was free. I don't know if I would have spent money on it. But as someone who grew up Catholic and experienced a lot of repression because of that, and someone who was very single, I did not know how to feel about that book. Also, like, the way that they desecrate that church. Oh my god. Like, it didn't like make me mad or anything. It's just a thought, like, I could never.
Can never like okay, I don't know much about this book.
I'm not a practicing Catholic right now.
You couldn't
like,
do anything naughty in the church?
Like, no, I have so much like respect for like a house of God. Oh my god. Okay. So, and I'm terrible with names, so we'll just keep calling him Priest.
That's fine.
Hot Priest.
I think it was like Bell. Father Bell or something.
Father Bell.
I can't remember what his first
Father
name
Bell.
was.
His name was Tyler Bell. We'll call him
Okay.
Hot
Her
Priest.
name was like Poppy or something.
Yes. You know what? I thought they were gonna make some like play on her name, because like Poppy, opium is made from poppies, and opium is an addictive substance, and so I thought they were like trying something there, but maybe I'm just reading too much into it. So yeah, so it's a small town. He's a hot priest in a church. He hasn't had sex in like 3 years. I'm like, girl, same. But I was like, but we carry on, okay? You're not special. And then Poppy shows up to confession, talking about like So she rolls up to confession. He doesn't know who she is at first. He just like the first couple times he just hears her voice and he's like instant boner. She's like confessing sexually explicit things that she's done.
Is that what you're supposed to do at confession? Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I gave my boyfriend a blowjob.
No, she talked about, so she used to be a stripper.
Okay.
Well, okay, so she like came up in Ivy League. Her parents are rich, and then she was like fooling around with this rich guy, and then one day she was like, fuck this life. So, but she got her MBA.
Okay.
And so she decided to like run away and become a stripper. And then she told the owner, hey, I have my MBA. And he's like, I will make you my accountant.
Okay.
Which made me think of that one TikTok with like, just say you're an accountant. I'm an accountant. I'm an accountant. And so she ends up being like this marketing and like accountant person for this high-end strip club.
Okay.
But she talked about one of the first things she talked about was like, I forgot how it came up. She felt guilty or was confessing because I think she's just she's not Catholic, but she just kind of starts using this as like therapy.
Okay.
And she's like talking about how she has no feelings anymore about anything. And she talked about like going into one of the back rooms for one of the high paying clients. And even though she didn't have sex with him, she like masturbated in front of him. And the client was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is so cool. And she's just like, I don't care. And she's like, is that normal, Father? And
you're asking the man that hasn't had sex in 3 years.
And he's just kind of like, what? What was the question?
I'm not qualified to answer that.
And then she's like, you know what? I feel like I can talk to you. She's like, you make it so easy for me to just share things.
Couldn't be because you're in a room where you feel anonymous.
And he doesn't know what she looks like. And so she leaves and she's like, cool, thanks, Father. And he just has like this massive boner in a church. And he's like, I don't know what to do. But, through a series of events, they run into each other a lot more. They get closer. He finds out who she is. The first time, they basically dry hump the first time. Because she's like, don't worry, I won't have sex with you. And he's like, yeah, if we don't have sex, then I'm not breaking my vows.
Oh.
But they're in the church. They're in the confession booth, and she's talking, and she starts to sound like breathy.
Oh God.
And he's unzipped his pants to like jerk off while she's talking to him. And then she's like, she starts to sound breathy, and then she's like, oh my God, this is a bad idea. I have to go. And of course he's like, no, don't go. And so they stand in front of each other, and he has like a massive boner. And she's just like, oh my. And so he bends her over the church piano.
Okay.
And hikes up her skirt. And he's like, why aren't you wearing underwear? And she's like, so it'd be easier this time. And he's like, this time?
Oh.
And she's like, to touch myself. And I was like, ma'am.
Okay.
And he's like, were you masturbating in the booth? And she's like, were you? He's like,
I wasn't if you weren't.
Not yet. But then he basically like bends her over and calls her like a slut and a whore, and like starts eating her out like on the church piano.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just like, oh sweet.
That's a naughty priest.
Sweet baby Jesus and the grown one too. I was like, oh my god. I was like, why does this sound kind of hot? Yeah. And then, you know, it just progresses from there. At one point, so like the first time that they fully have sex, they do it on the church altar.
Oh, all right.
Fully naked on the church altar. And he ties her hands with the rope that the priests wear around their robes, which is supposed to be a purity rope. And then when he cleans her up, he cleans her with the cloth that you wipe the the wine cup with.
That's funny. That's great.
And I was like, not the wine cup cloth.
Surely they wash it.
I know, but just like the thought.
Oh gosh.
Oh, and then it gets better. It gets so much better. One of like the there's like this big scene towards like the last quarter of the book where like she takes him to the strip club and like fulfills a fantasy. But that's not the one that got me. The one that got me was so her whole like thing is like she starts to become more involved in the church and she's helping him plan like a church fundraiser. And so he just finished saying mass and she hangs back to talk to him. And then he's like, sacristy now. It's like, what? And the sacristy is like a little room off the main church area.
Okay.
Where like the priests get dressed and everything. And where they have the little Jesuses that you eat and the wine and the costumes.
the Jesuses that you eat. You mean the little bread?
Yeah,
okay. What? I'm thinking the little babies from the king cake and for
Mardi
that's
what
Gras.
I thought at first, and then I was like, oh wait, no.
I was like, what?
Side note, I've always thought that it should be shaped like little tiny gingerbread men, but that's another thing. So so they go to the sacristy, and of course she's commando again. And she has on these like really slutty heels, like Louboutins, and she has on this like short little skirt, and she's not wearing a bra. And so he like gets her half naked, like just naked enough, and he goes to like take off his little priest collar, and she's like, no, leave it on. And then he's like, I want to stick it in your ass, and she's like, yes, stick it in my ass.
Oh my goodness.
And so no, that's not the part to laugh. This man, because they don't have lube, this man grabs the anointing oil that they use for like baptisms.
I mean, I don't know if that's water based, but it'll do the trick.
And proceeds to fuck her in the butt with copious amounts of anointing oil. And he kind of starts being like, this is what heaven must smell.
Oh my god.
Because he can smell the oil that has like that like frankincense smell. And then he can smell her perfume, and then he like smells the sex in the air, and he's having like this like religious experience.
Yeah, it was like a religious experience.
I was like, not the anointing oil.
Oh my god.
And we never get her point of view. It's all from his point of view.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that book, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't say I ever wanted to fuck a priest. Can't say I've ever wanted to get freaky in a church. But maybe we just file this away for later. There's like one part where he asks her to marry him, and they're like, yeah. And she's like, yes, of course I'll marry you. And they just have sex right there on the church floor in like celebration.
All right.
I'm like, well, that's nice. Can't desecrate it anymore.
I mean, after everything else they've done, is that really that bad?
Yeah. So, but yeah, like it's like a whole degradation kink thing, and he was such a man whore before he became a priest, and now that he's a priest, he like, wants to be holy, but she's like chipping away at it. And he tells her at some point, he's like, I don't want to unleash the beast. And she's like, unleash the beast. And so he like slaps her and calls her a slut and like shoves his dick down her throat. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's more. And he's like, yeah, because you're a cum slut. And I'm like, okay, well, we don't have to say those things.
Oh, I mean, it wouldn't be degradation if he didn't.
I know. And he calls her like a dirty whore and like a sinner. And I'm just like, maybe I have too much religious trauma for this.
Oh goodness.
But plot wise, 2 out of 5.
Oh yeah.
Because there's basically no plot. Spice wise, I think it's a good 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
I was like, yeah, it delivered on the spice for sure. But there's a sequel.
I think it's supposed to be his brothers, yeah.
Because he has brothers. Yeah, it's one of his brothers. It's like best friend's little sister, and the little sister, it's an age gap romance.
Okay.
And the little sister is going to be a nun.
Oh. Not anymore.
Yeah. So then there's this whole like, do I forego my nun ways in order to have the best sex of my life? And we'll see. I don't know if I'll read it. But I'm just like, really? A nun? But then I'm like, oh.
I feel like I have her book American Queen on Audible or something. Right? Because what's the author's name?
Sierra Simone.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I think I've only heard of the priests in the second book. Which is like Sinner, right? I feel like there's 3. I feel like there might be another one. Maybe like a short novella. Okay.
There are 3. I forgot what the last one's called. So that's what I read. All I could think was like, really? The anointing oil?
I'm just like, no.
I didn't grow up in the church at all, so I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I grew up Catholic as well.
Yeah.
I was like forced to go.
But like, and then like the robes, and then the Eucharist towel.
Is there ever a rosary involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I will not talk about it.
Oh my goodness.
What does he do with the rosary?
I mean, he doesn't really do anything, but they have a lot of sex while someone's wearing it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say...
I mean, no, I wouldn't say... No, the rosary has more of a, like, personal significance. He does pray on it a lot. because he's like, I'm being a sexual deviant, Lord. Please help me. And then he's like, well, you know what? The Lord wouldn't put her in my life if he didn't want me to fuck her.
Or it was a test and he failed.
Right.
Exactly. He's like, maybe she's meant to be here.
What is it? The people always say, like, God doesn't give you challenges that you can't overcome or whatever, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It makes me think of that meme with DW from Arthur, and she's like, you know, there's that sign, and she's like, that sign doesn't
can't
mean anything
read.
because I can't read. It made me think of that the whole way through this book.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I just thought it was so funny how he kept like justifying it. He's like, well, you know what? Her tits just ended up in my face. I don't know what you want me to
I
say.
don't know how we got here.
He was like, you know what? If he didn't want me to fuck her, she wouldn't have been so hot.
Sound logic. Sound logic.
It's like, oh, he's such a man. But then I'm like, same.
Yeah, I haven't read anything quite that dirty in a while. Except for the Easter Bunny stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I put the Easter Bunny, but I was like, but we've already talked about that, so
Yeah, I was
so
like,
I crossed it
I don't have
out.
anything. I don't have anything to go into great detail about.
Oh, so because I was like, y'all guys got excited with the leprechaun having 5 peens. I was like, there's one book that I read that was the part of the like Claws and Cubicles series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the very first one, called Love Laugh Lich. So it's like a lich monster, and he has 3 peens.
Ooh.
So that one I was like one of the scenes because I was like, it's like interesting because he has like his main one. The like other one is like a sucker.
Oh. Okay.
And then he has like a kind of like another one that's I think a bit longer, but the girth is narrower, and so he can easily do like double penetration plus like having a sucker. It's like you're like reading it and you're just like, oh my goodness.
Hold on. I have to think of the logistics.
That is not that hard.
I'm on board.
Butt, vagina, clit stimulator. That's what you got going on there.
But could you like switch him out? Probably.
I mean, yeah, probably.
It's so funny because it's like a boss and secretary kind of, because this is the like monster like business work one.
Yeah,
I think the business is called Evil like Incorporation or something. It's just so funny. But like he's
that's cute.
Yeah,
Evil Incorporated.
The Lynch Monster is like the main big boss guy, and she's like his secretary, and she's like, oh, I can help you with like this, what is it called, with this ritual if you want me to. And so that's kind of like how I think, and she needs to be like embarrassed, I think, in order for this ritual to happen, so she gets naked stuff. So. I know.
Oh my god.
But it's so funny because he gets jealous too, because like a guy like asks her out, and the way you know you're fired is by like a hole below you, like you get like pretty much like get sucked down to hell kind of thing. Like, so he's like asking her like he's like, this guy's asking her out for coffee, and she's like, maybe, and all of a sudden there's rumbling and he just falls. It's so funny. It's so cute.
That's funny.
He also, I think it's funny too because he puts like a butt plug in her, and he has like a control for it, And so she has to like go through her day.
Oh.
They're supposed to go to a meeting too, and she still has this in
Oh,
her.
no.
And like it's they kind of like have a sort of miscommunication, but it's like very small. She like gets mad at him, and then all of a sudden they make up, and he's like, well, then he plays with the butt plug again. She's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. All is forgiven. It is so funny. And it's very, very, it's a very short read, but it's like really good.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
That's funny.
I've never heard like cute and butt plug used in the same book summary.
I know. It's a very cute story, and it's like, it can be, the spice is really good, I think.
Okay, Ashley, you gotta give it to us. Give it to us dirty.
I didn't prepare details of anything.
Or maybe even not not dirty. Maybe it could be like romantic or kind of cute or I don't know. They all start blending together after a while.
Well, I mean, the most recent 2 books that I've finished is Out on a Limb and Bride. I'm not going to talk about Bride in detail because I know Elaine wants to read it. So
yeah, it's still pretty new.
That's just what it came out in like February.
Yeah, I think so.
January,
like January.
I think it came out.
Yeah, it just came out
Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah,
but it's very good. I highly recommend it. Let me know when you read it,
yes.
Elaine. It is kind of.
I heard it's
like a slow burn.
I heard it's a pretty good book to start you into the Omegaverse world.
I can see that.
So, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I think I was telling Ashley earlier that like I feel like I don't think I've ever seen very many books that have like the Omegaverse in it.
No, out of all the paranormal romances I have ever read, especially with werewolves, it has never been something that really gets brought up.
Yeah, I feel like that's mostly like in fan fiction, and I think now they're putting it probably out more.
Yeah.
Because there's another book that came out too. I think towards the end of last year called The Fake Mate, and it's supposed to be in a Omegaverse.
Okay.
As well.
I'm gonna write that down.
You
said the
fake mate.
I don't know. I hope that becomes a more regular thing in some paranormal romances. Maybe I'm just not reading the right ones. I do feel extremely overwhelmed right now. Like the books I'm reading or the books I want to read and trying to read them in a timely manner.
Yeah.
I devoured Bride, though. I read that a lot faster than I thought I would.
That's good.
It's been a while since there's been a book where I'm like, I want to like stay up late and read this and screw the consequences. Which is funny because I think I stayed up till like 9 o'clock most nights this week reading it. And yeah, I definitely paid for it the next morning.
I like that that's late for you.
That is, if I go to bed at 9, that's only like, I think it's like 5.5, 6 hours from when my alarm's going to go off. Yep. So 9 is late for me. But yeah, I haven't really read anything very dirty or sexy. I feel like lately. Out on a Limb, it's a romance, but it was very. The spice was good, but there's not a lot of it. I don't know if either one of you have heard of that book.
No, I don't think
No.
So.
Which book?
Out on a Limb.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So the 2 main characters, it's got like a lot of like disability representation in it. So the author and her female main character both have like a underdeveloped hand.
Okay.
And that's why she wanted to write it. And the male main character has an amputated leg because he had cancer. And that was the only way, after the chemo and radiation didn't stop it from spreading, that was the only way to stop it. So they meet at a Halloween party. at the female main character's best friend's Halloween party. And they're both dressed as pirates.
I love it.
So she's got like, you know, a hook on her underdeveloped hand, and then he's got like fake wood or whatever on his like prosthetic for his amputated leg.
He has a peg leg.
So they decide to have a one-night stand. And there's the box of condoms has been used, so there's no condom. And she's like, well, I'm on the pill. And he's like, I've also been tested since like my last relationship, whatever. And like he also like they're talking, and he opens up to her about like, because she invites him upstairs. She's like, I'm staying in the guest room here because this is my best friend's house. Like, do you want to come upstairs with me? And he tells her, he's like, this will be the first time like I've had any sort of like sexual anything since my leg has been amputated. And so I don't know, it's really sweet how like they both like make each other feel seen. But like her ex-boyfriend was really shitty to her, and like anytime she like touched him with her one hand, like he'd freak out and be like, don't touch me with that hand. And then like, yeah, he, like I said, hasn't been with anyone since he got his leg amputated. But they both decide to have unprotected sex, and she gets pregnant. But after she finds out, she does end up telling him, and he's like, she's worried that he's gonna like freak out and be like upset. But instead, he's like, he cries happy tears because he thought because of the chemo and radiation, there was a chance because of the chemo and radiation that he would be infertile because he didn't save any sperm before he did the treatment. So he was just like ecstatic to find out like, I can have kids and I'm gonna have one. And he really liked her, and they both, you know, have a connection and whatever. So she ends up moving in with him and whatnot. And she's like, no, we need to keep this like platonic. We need to just be friends because I don't want to complicate anything because, you know, I want you in the baby's life and you want to be in the baby's life long term. And if we do a relationship, it could get messy. And what if we break up? Blah, blah, blah. So they're living at his house or whatever. And then they have a discussion at one point, and he tells her about how he can hear her masturbating because the walls are thin. He's like, if you want to keep this platonic and just like friends, like you're going to have to start keeping it down. She's like, what are you talking about? He goes, I can hear your vibrator. And she's just like, oh my God, I'm leaving right now. She is so embarrassed and whatnot. And so I mean, they work it out, whatever. They do, it ends up being a happily ever after, and it's really sweet. The whole time it was like, there's gonna be a third act breakup, but then there's not. No. So but yeah, I haven't read anything like really dirty lately. Other than like we've already said, the bunny stuff.
What about Butcher and Blackbird?
Yeah. I mean, that one has some
But
good...
you can't talk about it without spoilers.
I mean, unless as long as y'all don't consider it spoilers, I can give the vaguest of details of the situations, I guess, that they're in.
Okay.
Like, the lines in that book are just so freaking good. Like, just thinking about them. I forget. It's like the first time that they're gonna hook up, and he's just like, he basically says like, are you ready for this? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, no, like, I need to know that you're ready for this because I'm gonna ruin you for anybody else. Like, you're never gonna be able to be with anyone else but me after this. I'm trying to think of the details not to give. Like, she's in the bath or whatever, and she's like finally like fucking let's like do something, make something happen. Like we're going all the way. So she's in the bath and he's outside of the bath and he's like help washing her off, whatever. And she like takes his hand and like puts it in between her legs and he feels that she has piercings. So he's like, what the fuck are those? And she's like, my piercings. And he just like picks her up out of the tub, like sopping wet, does not dry her off, nothing, throws her on the bed. And he's like, show me. She's like, but I'm getting it. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Show me. So like she spreads her legs, whatever. I had to look up what some of the piercings were because I was not sure. But like she's got her nipples pierced. She's got her belly button. She's got labia piercings, clit, and fourchette, I think is what it's called. So it's like the underside of your vaginal opening. Or the bottom of your vaginal opening. You'll have to Google it. That's what I did.
I don't know. I don't want it to be another Jacob's Ladder situation.
Yeah, no, yeah. So he is like just totally into all the piercings. He loves it. Whatever. They have a wild night. He's like, you're like by the end of this night, you're gonna scream my name. And she's like, we're in your brother's house. I am not gonna do that. He goes, I don't give a fuck about my brother and his house guests. Like, you're gonna be loud. I don't want you to hold back. He's like, don't hide from me or whatever. And Rowan Kane. So they like do a bunch of stuff and she's like finally like she's like tapping out. She's like, I can't handle anymore. And he's like, okay. Well, he stays like with his dick inside of her and like they fall asleep. Or he falls asleep. She's struggling. She's like, how am I supposed to go to sleep in this position? So when she thinks that he's like asleep, she just like can't take it anymore. So she tries to like masturbate.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course he wakes up and he's like, oh, do you want more?
He's like, oh, didn't see you there.
And like earlier in the night, he basically like throughout their entire evening together, just dirty talking to her the whole time about like all these different things that he wants to do with her and whatever. And he's like, he goes, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that like, or you're wondering if any of that is true. And he's like, it fucking is. He's like, where's your suitcase? He goes to her suitcase. He gets her one of her vibrators or whatever that she had. And I don't, as many times as I fucking listened to this book, I should not be hesitating on what's going where. I think he uses the vibrator in her vagina and he's going to put himself in her butt, if I remember correctly. So all this happens. The next day, she like goes downstairs for breakfast and she's like, I am so sorry for everything that y'all heard. And the brother's like a doctor and she was injured or whatever. And the doctor, he's like, I told y'all no sports. And then Rowan walks in and he goes, we weren't playing sports. We were having sex. But there's that time. There's another time. You don't get details, but like he ties her up to a table and like eats food off of her while he has another kind of like the same butt plug thing. Like there's a butt plug that he has like a control for. And then there's another time where he has her sit on like the table at a restaurant so he can eat her out. And she's like, the windows are like right there. Anyone could walk by and see. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Get on the table. Because that was one of the things he said he was going to do to her. And yeah, there's some references to I think it's supposed to be like what is it, The Dragon's Bride by Katie Robert.
Okay.
where there's the dragon with, you know, 2 dicks. So he makes jokes all the time because she's got her e-reader a couple times, so he makes jokes about like, oh, what are you reading now? And he's like, give me that dragon DP or whatever. he keeps trying to steal her Kindle, basically, or her e-reader, so he can read her dirty books. And she's like, we moved past that, we're on blah 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 now. She's like, download an app, read it on your phone,
get your own copy.
Yeah, she's like, you can't have mine.
It's like the one thing we don't mess with is our books,
right? I mean, what's it called? When Steven told me he wanted to read Harry Potter, I was like, that's great. You can't use my copies.
You can't touch mine.
Well, because like he's gonna get him dirty because he's gonna take him to work with him. He's got a dirty job. You can't take my books. He took pretty good care of the ones that he has, but I'm just like, no, I can't risk that. Even if I have 1,000 copies.
When you said the restaurant, it like triggered a memory. Not mine. Not one of mine. We're not going there on this podcast. So remember I told y'all about the hockey book, Stand and Defend. The Jacob's Ladder guy.
The Jacob's Ladder one.
Yes, Jacob's Ladder. There's a scene where they just won a hockey game, and everyone, the hockey team and their wives and girlfriends and friends, they all go to this bar to celebrate. And like they haven't officially like said what they are yet, of course. And so she starts flirting with a guy at the bar. And the main guy gets jealous, and you know they have this whole like degradation S&M thing going on, sub and dom thing going on. And to punish her, like the dirty slut she is, he's like, we're gonna have sex right now in this bar.
Oh.
And she's like, okay, where are we going? The bathroom? And he's like, no, we're staying at this table.
Oh,
and
God.
She's like, with everyone here? And he's like, yeah. He's like, just sit on my lap. And she's like, what? And he's like, sit on my lap. And so she sits on his lap, and he makes her have a full-on conversation with one of his friends at the table.
Oh my goodness.
All the while playing with her underneath the table.
How dark is this bar?
I
can tell you right now, if I sat down at a table and someone was sitting in someone's lap, like, I'm gonna see movement. Or is he just like chilling?
They weren't thrusting, really. Okay. She was more like grinding on him, and he was like playing with her clit.
Oh my god. Okay.
She had a dress on, and he was like, you know, talk to my friend. And she's like, what? He's like, yeah, talk to my friend. And so she's talking to his friend, and his friend, like, bless this man's heart, he thinks she's like genuinely interested in this conversation. Not like in like a flirty way, just in like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, you do that? That's cool, you know? And oh, wow. And a couple of times when he like, you know, does something to her, she's like, yeah, tell me more. And then the friend is like, I'm gonna go get more beers. But then they both finish at the table, and she's like, now what? And he's like, now we make a run for the door.
Oh my god.
And she's like, you can't be serious. And he's like, I'm so serious. When I say go, you go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord.
And then like they're running out, and they're like, bye.
Bye everybody.
Like, oh my god. And I was like, you know what? Of all the things, I think that's where I draw the line. Just
I don't think I could do that.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
You know, you could do all the other things. That's a hard no for me.
Mm-mm.
But of course, later she was like, "That was so hot."
Of course, yeah. If I lived in a
And
fictional
I'm just
world.
thinking, like, yeah, but you like traumatized that poor man at the table,
Right? Not to mention, you probably both could have got registered as sex offenders for indecent exposure in public.
I don't know. It's set in Canada. I don't know the rules there.
Yeah, I don't either. That's funny. That's funny. I mean, I've read dirty stuff, but
I mean, haven't we all?
like Christmas in Coconut Creek and Forget Me Not by Carissa Kinward are pretty good. She writes some pretty good spice.
There are some things that give me ick. Like,
Mhm.
I guess like word choice.
Okay.
I was reading a historical romance and then they said the word like pussy. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if they say that in Regency England, but sure. I read a book. I forgot which one it was, but they called like the vulva her slit,
I hear that a lot.
and I don't like that word. It makes me cringe a bit.
That doesn't bother me. I don't know. There's not. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that bothers me when they use it to describe.
When we read Desperate Measures, I found out that I don't like daddy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care for the daddy kink.
Yeah. I don't like
it either.
I don't know if it's because I don't have those kind of daddy issues.
I just can't get into it.
I can't either.
Speak like along that same theme. I don't like it when it's like big guy or big boy, like come here big boy, or come here big guy.
Oh, okay.
Or oh, you're such a big boy, or you're such a big guy. And I'm like,
I don't think I've read that in anything.
Yeah, I don't think I've read anything like that.
I haven't read it on purpose.
No, I know, but I mean, like,
No.
I can't think of anything I've read that said that.
Yeah, it just kind of slips in there, and I was like, oh,
I'm sure I
I'm gonna just
have.
gloss over
Yeah.
it.
I'd also like to make it very clear we're not trying to yuck anyone's yum. These things are just not for us.
Yeah.
Just some word choices. It takes me out of the book. I'm like, ugh.
I feel like my thing with like the daddy thing and Desperate Measures is it was just used like a lot. It wasn't just like a couple times. Like it was a lot. And I'm like, no. No thanks. It was also used in a Zodiac Academy.
Oh, your favorite book series.
It was legitimately like disturbing in the context that it was used. I was not a fan. And the people that were reading it with me, and I put it in the like Discord conversation, majority of them were like, yeah, no, that gives us the creeps too. And I'm like, cool. And they're the ones that all love that book. So
yeah. I'm trying to think of like different words for like a man's penis. Like, there's
I feel
dick.
like shaft is always used.
Yeah.
Or
there's like dick, shaft, cock.
Like pushed into the hilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Or to the root.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that.
Oh,
I've seen that one a couple times.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
Yeah, to the hilt. That's a weird one. I didn't know that's what it was called. I feel
like that's a popular one. I mean, it's just like it's like a sword reference.
Yeah. What's another one? Oh, I've seen like member, but that was like an old
yeah, I've
one.
seen that.
Why is it always like straining or aching or springing free? Like, I asked a man once upon a time, does it ever ache like that? Like, because I'm like reading these descriptors of like, you know, guys who are like, you know, so lusty for the woman. And it froze, didn't it?
It did.
Yes.
All I heard was you asked a man once if it's ever aching.
It was aching.
Because you're reading these books.
Okay. I asked a man once, like, does that ever like happen in those descriptive ways? And he was just like, that has never happened to me in my life. And I was like, oh, all right.
Maybe he just has never been that sexually desperate for somebody then.
Maybe it was, I mean, it was the wrong man.
I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, it's just like I've never possessed male genitalia, so I don't know. But you know,
yeah.
When I hear that, I imagine it's because like they like are hard and it's, you know, like uncomfortable or straining against their pants. They're like, ow. It's aching to be released.
I think Priest said it a couple of times, and in other books that I've read, they've like described like, you know, the balls tightening up or something.
I have read that.
I know it's like a visual cue, but
yeah,
we all know. We don't need the, you know, we're here for the lady, really.
I don't know. I don't mind those extra details. I'm here for all of it, not just the woman or the man.
Yeah, I can see that.
I want all the deets.
I do like when I do like when there is like reciprocity. Especially with like, you know, he does stuff to her, she does stuff to him.
Yeah.
And they keep going back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the guy's just like on the woman all the time, like that can be a good day, you know? But you know, I like to read other stuff. Well, that's all I've got for this episode. I don't want to like give it all up front.
I was like, I just have some honorable mentions.
There's one that like I feel like is probably the most I've read is because it's the initiation, the Sex Wizards series. It's very, very interesting because it's they say it's like adult Harry Potter because he like goes to like a wizarding school and it's like a sex based magic. It's very interesting. Like literally like the first 2 chapters you get like 2 sex scenes already. Like it starts off really, really fast.
So it's like The Beast.
All right.
Yeah, it starts off really, really fast, but it's like it's a very sex positive.
I was gonna say, would you say it starts with a bang?
Starts with a bang, yes. Yeah, because they do like a, what is it called? Like an aptitude test. Just like, I need to do an aptitude test on you to see if you actually do have magic. So basically, like, I need to have sex with you because that's how they create their spells.
All right.
A sex aptitude test? Oh my! What if you get like test anxiety?
Well, like what I love about, because like I said, it's very sex positive. Like so, one of the things they like stress all the time is that like stop is a very powerful word. Like they're like, if you say stop, I will stop. You know, and they say, you know, like if a wizard like doesn't stop when someone says stop, it's like an automatic like you're expelled. Like if you don't follow this
consent
rule.
Is important.
Yeah, consent is very, very important.
Consent is sexy.
Yes.
And
like they kind of like ease them into it. They're like, you know, because they know that he doesn't come from like a wizarding like they say like the magic is mostly in bloodlines, but there's a few that don't, and so he doesn't know if his mom, because his mom died, and he's like, I don't know if my mom had magic, but I know my dad for sure doesn't. And he was pretty much get like a letter of recommendation to go in. But but yeah, it's like their magic are in like beads or rings. It's very interesting because they put like the rings like on his dick, and then they perform the deed, and then it starts to spark, and then like the magic is like the magic with like
Is
the
it, like,
bead
stored?
or whatever. Yeah, it's stored into this like bead or like
Interesting.
loop thingy. It's
I'm
very, very
intrigued.
interesting.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Like the way she does the magic too is very interesting, because there's certain schools that you can do, and they're just like, oh, like with this, I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, so in one of them, he's like, it's supposed to be like a defense spell, and so he's just like, I thought I put in breath play into the mix of the spell making, and like when he like uses it, it really knocks the breath out of you. The spell.
That's
so I was like, oh,
awesome.
that's very interesting how like the sex mag, like
Yeah.
the way that things are.
I like this school. It sounds
Yeah,
fun.
it's very, very fun.
I think I know I downloaded it. I think you sent it to me when it was like either on sale or free or something.
Yeah, I think I sent to you because it was on free.
I definitely have it.
It does like all the kinks, but it does it in such a way that you like. It doesn't really. I didn't think I would like enjoy it, but you do really enjoy it, and I think it's more of like the interesting facts of the magic, of how certain things create this like certain spell. So it's interesting.
I like that. I need to move that up on my list like everything else.
Yeah.
There's not enough time for all these books.
I know.
Should we go into a what this week then?
If y'all want, yeah. We have not done a what this week in a while.
Because speaking of what this week, I am going to start the Kiss Quotient.
Woo!
Yay!
Yes, me too.
I have already started, if you can count. I think I'm... Hold on.
Well, yeah, I technically have started already. I think I'm like 5 chapters in.
Oh, you're ahead of me. I'm on chapter 4.
I don't know where I am, but I finished the sample.
Okay. I'm excited for this one, y'all. I think it's gonna be good.
I am 4 chapters in as well.
Okay. That's not the only thing I'm reading right now, though. I am also reading like I said, I finished Bride, and then I started the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking Hugo, and I'm just like, no. Wait, no, yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, Evelyn Hugo. That's what the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. The author is going to be coming to Book People at the end of May for his new book. So my friend that told me about this one, my friend Hannah, she's going to go, and I'm going to try to get a ticket as well so I can get this one signed. I don't know where he's going to sign it. Is there a page? Yeah, okay. I was like, is there room? But it's like a murder mystery, sort of.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm interested in reading the some nonfiction, believe it or not, because that movie with Cavill is coming out, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I just saw something about that the other day.
It's based on a true story about.
I did not know that.
This unofficial team during World War II who was like changing the tide of the war, and their mission birthed the special ops department of the military.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally I don't read into like military history, but this sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was based off a true story. I don't think am I watching anything?
What am I watching? Oh, I'm watching Top Chef because I love Top Chef. My Discovery Plus subscription ran out, so I can't watch my ghost shows, but that's okay.
Oh no.
It's all right. But yes, I'm watching Top Chef. What am I listening to? Oh, Texas Monthly has another true crime installment
Okay.
that's happening right now. It's Shane and Sally. And on July 4th, 1988, 16-year-old Shane and 18-year-old Sally went out for a night in San Angelo, and then they mysteriously disappear.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly.
That was good.
I love that. Love it. So, anywho, that's what I'm listening to.
What about you, Elaine? Got anything?
I've been like in a movie mood. I finally watched the new Willy Wonka.
Oh, how was
the
it?
Wonka movie. I really liked that. I really enjoyed that one.
Okay.
I thought it was really cool. I watched the Damsel movie as well the other day.
Oh, how was that?
It was interesting. It was pretty good. It was good, but it was just like, okay, yeah, I kind of expected it, you know.
Yeah.
But it was still good. I really want to watch Alien, so which I forgot to look at work to see if we got it so I can borrow it. But yeah, I really want to watch Alien, so like I need to watch that.
Speaking of movies, Steven just bought movie tickets because it's like the 25th year anniversary of The Mummy.
Oh,
so we're gonna go see it.
I want to watch The Mummy too.
Yeah, we're gonna go see it at Alma Draft House or whatever
Nice.
later this month.
Yeah.
Every child's sexual awakening of 99.
Seriously.
Yes.
Everyone in that movie is so hot.
Yeah, I was like, everyone in that movie is so gorgeous.
Yes. So
they're all so hot.
No, I think my mom has the movie. I just need to go and grab.
Yeah, I know we
grab
have
that movie so I can watch it.
And I was like, oh, now I want to watch it. And Steven's like, no, we gotta wait. I was like, that's a good point.
Can't wait. You can watch it on the big screen.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse.
Oh, how was that?
It was horrible.
Oh, was it?
Yes. I don't think Conor McGregor is acting.
Oh,
he's probably not.
And Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't know. He's not so full disclaimer, Roadhouse is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
I love that movie. I don't know why, but I do. It's a comfort movie. I put it on when I do chores. But yeah, it was fine. It was good for a Saturday night when I didn't want to think about anything.
I mean, it's gonna be no Patrick Swayze, you know.
Patrick Swayze.
Okay, I was gonna say, is that the one with Patrick Swayze? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I was thinking of the right one.
But that's all I have.
Well, if anyone couldn't guess, or if you haven't seen my thing already, because I've just posted about this on Instagram today, the Kiss Quotient is going to be our next book discussion episode.
Yay!
Yes.
If you couldn't tell by the fact that all three of us are reading it at the same time.
Yes.
If all goes according to plan, that'll come out at the end of April. I'm not going to give a specific date because last time I did that, we moved it.
We went rogue.
We went rogue. So, if everything goes according to plan, we're looking at late April for that episode. And if anybody wants to read it, I do have a channel already set up in Discord if you want to read it with us. I've already started tabbing this book, which I think I need to slow down because I'm only 4 chapters in and I've got like 9 or 10 tabs already.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good so far. That's all I got for What This Week.
Yay!
A What This Week and announcements.
Yeah.
Anything else we'd like to add?
No.
All right. Thank you, listener, for joining us. Please rate and review our podcast and follow us on our socials listed in the description. We also have Discord now if anyone wants to join for monthly book discussions. Please email or DM us topics, questions, book recommendations. Have a lovely day and week. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.